neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Turn down my volume because I know what's going to happen. Well, we did have some summer days in the fall. Still not bad outside. Just finished a homegoing for a member who's a motorcycle rider. I hear the motorcycles tuning up, getting ready to go to cemetery. I miss riding.
Do you?
I really miss riding. And I had so many people convince me not to buy another bike, but I just may. Something's giving me. You hear that?
You and Pastor Winfield were on that bike when y'all first started.
Yeah, we were. Is it his mic? Is that what it is? A little buzz. Winfield and I rode. It went away.
Oh, so that's it. Okay.
Okay. We enjoyed riding. Now, I was just talking about in the funeral. You can plug it up. You can plug it. Ain't no big deal. I was just talking about in the funeral for a brother named Donnie about how we would ride. I remember, and we're praying for Pastor Winfield. He's not doing well physically, but the one time that I had an accident on the bike, because I was talking about you can't ride with everybody. In life, you can't ride with everybody. Motorcycles, you can't ride with everybody. We're coming back. We went over one time we went over to Canada and I lost the key to my bike. Let me tell you about how a man of faith he is. So we over in Canada, we didn't parked our bikes over by the Scary House. So when we left, we went and got something to eat, came back. Winfield got on his bike, I got on my bike, I ain't have no key. So Winfield, so now we didn't went back to the restaurant. We didn't walk back around. Every place that we walked, can't find my key. Stop. We only did like 2 stops, no key. Walking back, Winfield started praying. This is the truth. Winfield said, in the name of Jesus, help us find the key. I am not kidding. I looked out in the street and the key was laying in the street. Now what happened was, when we got off of the bikes, we parked at that haunted house up on Clifton Hill, and one of them characters came out after me, and I ran. And when I ran, I'm not kidding you, I must have dropped the key. So Winfield said, in the name of Jesus, and my bike key was in the thing. Second incident, then we'll talk a little bit about some current events.
Gosh.
Second incident, because I want to give people flowers while they're alive. We coming back from Canada, come up to with Robert Moses. I had told Winfield earlier, so I had another bike. So the first bike was like sports bike. Was I still in? Yeah, whatever. So I went and bought a Goldwing. Now, anybody who knows anything about Goldwing is huge. Radio, cassette player.
Wow.
CB. I didn't have a CB on it, but people put all kinds of stuff on the Goldwing, right? This joker was so heavy, I could not handle it. I would be afraid, because you could stall like if you don't shift right. If you stall out now and you start to lean, you in trouble. So we coming back from Canada. I said, Winfield, my steering wheel ain't working right in the steering wheel. My handlebars are not working right. So he said, I said, feel like it's loose. He said, well, let me ride you. That's a real friend. I'm telling you, my bike is messed up.
He said, let me get on.
He said, let me get on. You ride mine and let me see. Yeah, that's that. When I tell you, Winfield was my ride or die. So we that would have been a good sermon for today, ride or die.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it was words out of his mouth, so.
I did the words out of his mouth. Okay. So Winfield rides my bike, give me back my bike. He said, ain't nothing wrong with it, Pridge. I get back on my motorcycle. We coming around to Robert Moses. I go to the left. My tire went to the right. So the bike went into the curb. I fly up in the air and down. I'm hollering. I got on a full mask helmet. So he can't hear me. I'm hollering, when? I'm on the ground. I'm laid out. I'm dazed. When I tell you I saw stars, I almost thought I saw Jesus himself. Wynn finally looks in his rearview mirror, see that I'm on the ground. So he turned around on the Robert Moses, come back and get me. So when I tell this story every time, Winfield said, Pridge, you all right? My head said no. My head said yes, but my mouth said no, whichever way it was. I said the opposite because I was still so stunned. So I had all this leather gear on there. So Winfield started getting the leather off. I'm like, dude, what you doing? He said, man, we ain't leaving this leather here. I said, yes, we are. I said, let's go. I was embarrassed. I'm laid out on the ground. Cars going past. I'm laid out on the ground. I got on all this leather. I got on a helmet. I'm ready to go. So Winfield said, what about somebody steal? I said, man, they can have that leather on that bike. I don't care about that leather. So he said, what you gonna do about the bike? I said, when I get home, I call a tow truck. Because it was you couldn't drive it, the whole front. So he said, how you gonna get home? I said, I'm getting on your bike.
No, sir.
I got on the back of that man's bike, held him like he was my woman, and we rode on. I got home. I just laid in that bed for a minute. Then I called the tow truck, and
now
they got
you
my
know
bike.
that ain't something that he would do. That ain't
Right?
something.
Oh no,
you know that
I would not ride on.
But you had to do it in that situation.
Hey, I had to get home.
But you know that you didn't tell that story to the church during that time because you know that everybody was worried about you riding the bike. Pastor, be careful. We don't want you to ride the motorcycle. We'd have told that story. They'd be like, Pastor.
Yeah.
Deacon Swain would have talked to you, Pastor.
Pastor, can we talk? We need you. Matter of fact, the last time, and we're gonna talk about real stuff. The last time I was gonna buy one a few years ago, they called Marvin Brown, who doesn't even live in Buffalo anymore. Marvin is down south. For Marvin to call me and say, you too valuable to, he wrote me a whole letter about not buying a motorcycle. And I didn't. But I'm telling you right now, I got the fever. Now, I don't want to be on no two-wheeler anymore.
No.
And I do not want an electric bike. I was looking at some electric bikes the other day. I don't want an electric bike. Too quiet. On a motorcycle, you want noise.
Yes.
You want somebody to know
that car
that
to
you're
know,
absolutely because no electric bike. Some things going on. First of all, if you haven't been keeping up with the news, history was made when the speaker. And the reason this is important, Buffalo, because we could talk local politics all day long. You need to understand politics and governance, I'll say. This is politics, though, at a higher level than just city council and school board. Because the Speaker of the House was thrown down by a handful of Republicans. 8 of them took them. And so the way this went, basically, 8 people get mad at the Speaker of the House, who is the leader of the House of Representatives. He is the leader. He's the leader. He's the one who can call votes to the floor. He's the one that can, decide whether, we voting on aid to Ukraine. He's the one who can stop the budget from being funded.
Third in succession to the president if something were done to the president.
Third in succession. So if something happens to the president, it's the vice president. Right. If something happens to the vice president,
it's the Speaker of the House.
8 of them decide we don't want them, and all the Democrats vote with them because everybody had to vote.
Right.
Yes.
So it's basically the Democrats that was able to take out the Republican Speaker of the House. And the government came to a screeching halt. Now, folks, this is important because now next week, I guess they're supposed to try to elect a speaker. But it could go on for days.
Yes.
Because the last time
it
did
in January.
Absolutely.
15 votes.
So this is where we are right now in federal government. It could affect everything from federally funded daycares if we don't get this funding stuff back together. It's a whole lot of stuff. It could affect depending on the cycle that the CAO is on, it could affect locally.
Right.
Yeah.
Or different grants that anything could happen.
Well, and I was getting ready to say, and everything we talked about with the government shutdown last week, we only got an extension, a 40-day extension. So, and that's what some of the issue and the blowback was. Like, you want to do this, and we still got to come up with a more permanent budget. But I think the hilarious thing about the political game is the fact that he got voted out by a rule that he allowed to be created for the House.
Yeah.
He said at any given moment you can call a vote to get the speaker out.
Yeah.
And they did.
And they took him up on it.
He was so desperate for power that he made that type of deal.
Yeah.
When you had these individuals that they already showed you they were going to
Already
act
showed.
right.
Man, they showed them in a big, big way. I'm trying to find. Go ahead.
And then the fact that they're trying to make it's the Democrats' fault. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait, this is your people, right? These are the Republican Party selects, since they're the majority, they select their own speaker.
Yep.
And so how was it the Democrats' fault? The Democrats just said, we're going to sit here and we're going to eat our popcorn.
They sure did.
And let's be honest, if it was the other way around, the Republicans would have bounced out Nancy Pelosi if there was enough in on the Democrat side to get rid of her.
And then they kicked Nancy Pelosi out of her office.
Sure did.
It's like, and this is like tradition. You're upsetting all the traditions. You kicked the lady out of her while she's at a funeral. I'm like, y'all just so dirty. So and then Trump is talking about he could.
But you know what? It's politics, right? So
I hate when you say that, but
it's true. It's politics. Like I'm not even mad about her.
I'm not mad at all. I was watching it like it was reality TV. I was mad that they went to a roll call. I wanted to watch the whole thing.
When stuff like now, I'll bring it to local politics. When a new person comes to the council. Traditionally, we ain't had a new person in a while, right? But when I went to the council and replaced my predecessor, he had new furniture. Nice. Oh my gosh, nice room dividers, all the furniture. So I'm like, phew, I'm picture perfect ready. Man, I got to City Hall.
Ramsack.
It was all gone. They gave me a good office, but because nobody wanted to move. So I had a decent suite, but I had George K. Arthur's funeral, not funeral, furniture. I had George K. Arthur. They went in the basement.
Yep.
And got his furniture, and that's what I had. And I didn't come in like, y'all took my furniture. It is what it is.
Come in and talk about within 6 months I need a whole new furniture.
Yeah, it is what it is. So, so right now somebody said, let's not forget it took them, this is Faye Hemphill on Facebook, it took him days to be approved to be speaker. Exactly.
Yeah.
In other news, Harvard inaugurates Claudine Gay, the university's first black president. Did you know that?
No.
I'm now, unless
When they sneak that in.
I'm reading it on. I found this really good. Oh no, that's USA, and that's USA Today. That ain't what I thought I was reading. So this was announced October the 2nd. Harvard University inaugurated Claudine Gay. Oh, come on, pop-ups, come on. As its 30th president, the first person of color and the second woman to lead the Ivy League institution. Wow. Quote, our stories and the stories of many trailblazers between us are linked by the institution's long history of exclusion and the long journey of resistance and resilience to overcome it, Gay said Friday in her inaugural address. In her speech, Gay shared her vision of the institution's future. Yeah, get rid of affirmative action if you want to. We becomes the president. Asking why not should be a Harvard refrain. The willingness to sound foolish, risk ridicule, be dismissed as a dreamer. We've seen it time and time again. The courage to take a chance, even when success seems beyond. I'm reading part of her speech, but anyway, this is exciting news. I talk about this briefly to talk about the fact that the reality in our school systems across the country is that a lot of children of color will not end up at a Harvard, right? But let's bring it home locally. We are having, a couple of days ago, there was a situation at Riverside.
Yep.
They cancel a game.
Yep.
Might not seem like much to anybody, but a lot of these kids get into schools by scholarship.
Yep.
Incident over at All High. Cancel a game, considering, and they did make some changes, which I commend the head of security, the head of school board, the superintendent, and others. Quick thinking.
Yep.
But I'm glad they didn't cancel sports.
Yes.
What the heck is going on? We flipped out over McKinley. Everybody but the janitor was blamed. Are we becoming such a violent, or maybe this has been, and it's just more in the news now? Because I know in talking to some of the resource officers that in some schools you got more fights than others.
Yes.
I doubt if you didn't had a fight up at City Honors. Is there a correlation, and do we really realize how important our education is? I see, and we're going to talk about the whole wall and Biden today, but I'm seeing billions of dollars fly out of Washington for Ukraine, which y'all know I support Ukraine.
Yep.
That's an important place that we strategically cannot let Russia win. I see when it needs to flow out, it's not a million, it's billions. My concern is, are we taking this serious? Our communities, of how important education is. Yeah, we got a black president at Harvard, but will a majority of kids even apply to college? And with the chaos that we're seeing, so you got the teachers union saying, hey, we've been asking for better, systems. I'm just gonna say this, I'm a supporter of the superintendent. I think that some of the things they put in place, they have increased hiring of resource officers. They have added in some schools metal detectors. When I was on the school board and we talked about that, parents flipped out. It was not a peep that I know of. They put them in. I'm gonna be honest, I'm okay with them at this point in time in when you got kids carrying knives and ghost guns to school. They have put in place a new head of security.
Yes.
They have put in place not only that, but they put in place more counselors in schools
Yes,
dealing with mental health, because it's not just about lock them up. It's not just find the guns. Let's get down to what's going on in the heads of our students so they can learn, right? So I do believe that there are huge efforts happening right now, at least in Buffalo. But as a community and as a country, I don't see, again, the concentration like we're concentrating on other countries or concentrating on bringing new Americans to the area or the United States. What's your thought?
I mean, Pastor, I think that, we're going to have this what's missing in the black community conversation. And those are some of the things we're going to talk about, because do we take things seriously? Some things we just see and gloss over it and then don't pay attention. And then when it comes to pass, whose fault is it? Yours, Pastor.
Yeah.
It's your fault.
Yeah.
You get that a lot. It's
Yeah.
It's Pritchard's fault. Well, he's not a school board member, and he's not on the school board, and he's just a council president. But it's the people who don't even sometimes have anything to do with it. But again, I think that our biggest problem is us.
Yeah.
We have to look in the mirror, and we have to take care of our households. The school board has done a whole lot of things, improved in security, have counselors, but the other piece that's missing is the parents.
Do you think the parents are missing? Talk to me about that.
I do. I think in some cases, I got somebody text me and told me that they got a message regarding a threat to one of the schools, Highgate Heights. And I'm like, okay, so and I guess it wasn't a serious threat, but if children are doing those things and making these type of threats, where are the parents, And I do think a lot of it has to do with parents, but part of it could be possibly because parents have a distance to go to their schools. Like I remember back in the day, I could go to my kid's school and we have parent teacher conference. Do they even have that anymore? I don't even know if they have parent teacher conference.
Yeah.
But those are important pieces, especially I think when they were in the community, when you could walk across the street or go up the street to the school. Like my brother used to go to Burgard. We would walk up the street to Burgard and go talk to the teachers. My mom would take us and we would go out talk to the teachers. And I think that's a really, really important point. As you always talk about relationships, it's really about relationships. And I don't know if those relationships are as strong as they used to be. It seems like it's just a distance. We send our kids to school, and I think after the second or third grade, we just kind of take our hands off in many cases.
So I hear that, and I don't disagree that there are those instances. I'm almost starting to believe a lot has to do with environment also. And that because a child, I think, can come from a perfectly balanced house,
Absolutely,
get into an environment, and then have to act out in order to keep up with that environment.
Yes.
So I think I don't disagree that there are some parents asleep at the wheel, but I think it goes even beyond that to those environments and cultures that they are in, because if I go to a certain school, that environment is one way. And then, I mean, they say that a majority of a child's problems can be traced back to us, adults.
and I think, too, for black and brown people, because Sam Radford brought this to my attention, because I kind of went there with his parents, but he said, Counselor, you got to understand, some parents are single parents and working 2 or 3 jobs, so they don't have the ability to do all those things, and sometimes they don't even have the support. And so there are, like you said, it goes beyond just a parent not doing. Sometimes they're just not able to do as well as they would like to because they have 2 or 3 things that they got doing, trying to keep pay for this high rent, keep food on the table, and then inflation. There's a lot of different things that I think we never really look at. And like you said, we give billions of dollars to Ukraine, but here we're suffering.
Yeah.
We can't pay the rent, and wages aren't increasing. So it's a number of things that, again, when America has a cold, the black community gets the flu. It's the truth.
It definitely is. What's your feelings on, now Biden says that he wasn't going to finish building the wall, and then he just authorized go build another section of the wall because so many people are flooding into the United States.
I think he's making the right call, because at the end of the day, you got to do something. It's like the school board when they made that decision about security at All High. You got to make it, because they're saying 200,000 people are coming just illegally. You got to do something. And so I didn't agree with the wall initially, but I think, again, we have to strengthen our borders, and they really should be taking some legislation to deal with the issues. Just building the wall. They still going to scale the wall, get over the wall, all those things. But I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. What do you think about the wall? And the amount of people, let's just talk about or the wall and the amount of people that, because they're getting ready to bring in more.
Yeah.
I think it's from Venezuela,
Yes.
like
Venezuelan, yes.
500,000 or something, right?
Something crazy.
Some number like that. What's your thoughts?
I guess I don't like the timing, but I understand the timing. I believe this is more. It's to use the phrase that was used in Chambers. I believe this is more of a political stunt and not necessarily a way to justify an immigration policy. I feel Biden waited till now to use this as a way to grab maybe a conservative Democrat to moderate Republican on his side ahead of the election, because the 200,000 flooding the border didn't just start. It was there then. It was there tomorrow. And like you said, if there's a will, they're still going to find another way into the country. So I just think this was another way to just appease a voting bloc ahead of the 2024 election.
That's deep.
But I do think, again, you keep seeing all these dollars flooding out the country.
Yeah.
And you keep wondering about, what about us? And so I do understand some people's upset that we're spending all this money on Ukraine, but we're suffering. We know that these are strategic things, but at the end of the day, when Johnny, I can't put food on the table, I can't afford my rent, I ain't worried about Ukraine. I'm worried about me.
And I'll just say, because like you said, the billions to education, and like we're constantly, and I think that's before the House that can't meet right now, additional funding to Ukraine. So, but we'll flood that, but then we'll argue over $9 million for student loan debt relief.
So that right there, and that's what I mean. Our domestic, we still, to me, suffer a lot on domestic policy, on less taking care of home. I mean, like I said, I'm going to say it again. I'm all for Ukraine. When we come back from the break, I want to hear from people. What do you think about the influx of people coming into the United States, the influx of people that are coming into New York, influx of people coming into cities all around, influx of people coming into Western New York? We want to talk about that. We're going to send it over to the station to pay some bills in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
When it comes to something as personal as your clothes, you need to deal with somebody you can trust. That's why so many people turn to Hobson's Dry Cleaning, conveniently located in the heart of the community at 874 East Delavan at the corner of Wyoming.
When you take your clothes to Hobson's, you can trust that they'll be ready on time.
You can trust that your whites will be white.
You can trust that you'll always get a fair price and service with a smile.
You can even trust that you won't have to get out of your car if you don't want to. Hobson's has a drive-through window for your convenience.
Trust is what it's all about at Hobson's Dry Cleaning.
Hobson's Dry Cleaning, your one-stop dry cleaners serving the community for over 30 years at 874 East Delavan at the corner of Wyoming. Call 891-8298. That's 891-8298.
Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home has 3 locations to serve you in Buffalo. 347 Peckham, 2258 Bailey Avenue, and Providence Memorial Chapel at 1275 Sycamore. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes offers traditional services, and they have services for all faiths. And at Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes, they have air-conditioned parlors and chapels. Financing is available, as is limousine service. At those difficult moments in your life, Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes is available where you are with counseling services. Call toll-free 877-885-7734. That's 877-885-7734. Or locally 845-5545. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes. We are here to serve you, here to serve this present age. Call today, toll-free 877-885-7734. Or email info@brianklewisfuneralhome.com.
Yeah, so we want to talk a little bit about immigrants. America has been known, New York City is known as a place that was open to all.
Yes.
The mayor of New York, in not a speech, he was on a panel or something, made a statement. Mi casa is tu casa, but we don't have any more room. That's what he said. My house is your house, but we ain't got no more room in New York. What are we doing?
That is $1 million question. What are we doing here? Because I'm confused. Because I feel like it was knee-jerk reactions, but no one ever thought through, like, hey, the Republicans were just shipping, like, oh, y'all wanted them? Oh, we just gonna send them by busloads up north, and then y'all figure it out. All these sanctuary cities, y'all figure it out. And then you accept then another crop. So you got the buses coming from the south. feels like migration again. You got the buses coming from the south. And then you have the droves that we approved of getting dropped off in New York. And then they're like, oh, well, we'll just send them to empty campuses in New York and suburbs and let them rent out, slow hotels. And it's just like, but what was the plan? And that has always been my thing with any immigration. What is the plan? If you saying you're approving them before they get sent out, then why aren't they coming to the community already with working papers? And keep them in a station until they are ready to hit the ground running.
Well, the governor says that there are tens of thousands of jobs waiting for them.
Oh, I bet.
And that they have basically polled businesses who say, we'll give them jobs. Now, most of these jobs are jobs that
we ain't working in.
Now, why is that? you got jobs. The governor, and I don't doubt that there are farmers out there saying we need our immigrants back.
Yes.
We need, because they're gonna go from farm to farm. They're gonna live, and this is the truth, and I'm not being facetious. They're gonna live in
Whatever they
trailers,
get.
because when we had the place out in the country, there were trailers that would be
Absolutely.
empty in the winter, and then people living in it in the summer. Why don't we work these jobs?
Because we as Americans feel like there's a certain level, and it's two-sided. We feel like that's beneath us. So certain jobs are beneath us. But let's be honest, they're also not trying to pay living wages for people to be out there farming. So if they can get it at 7, whatever the bare minimum is, compared to, because if I go out there, I'm gonna be like, hey, listen, I'm trying to be a supervisor. I want $60,000 a year. I'm coming with an American expectation, and they're like, hey, give me $3 an hour, and I'm fine. So I think it's both sides. They're like, I can get cheap labor, and we think we're too good for it.
So is that patronizing them?
Absolutely.
What about I say?
I mean, but it's almost like, when we talk about folks that come in our community and buy up property, they buy these beat up houses and they fix them up, and then we upset. And sometimes we don't see the beauty. I mean, we used to take those meager jobs.
Yeah.
We came off the plantation. We took those meager jobs. It meant something to us, but now it doesn't seem like we'll take those jobs because it doesn't mean as much. Even as far as those trades, we used to have these electricians and plumbers and carpenters, and now they don't want to do that no more. So
and there is a shortage of electricians out there. I'm talking about African American electricians. There's a shortage of African American plumbers. There's a shortage of all of that right now. Let me read some of the comments from Facebook. Let's see. Burton said true on whatever we were talking about. Shuki said also we don't want to pick apples.
Yeah.
Katrina Martin Bordeaux says what I think we should do as the world's people is fund the countries in which people flee from to provide them security and economy in a way we do with European countries when they are at war. Or in trouble. We have to ask ourselves, as the world's superpower, how we attribute to the lack of economy in South America. Lakeisha says, she was talking about the lottery, money for schools. I got you, though. Where's the money? It's there. All they did was switch how much more money they send.
That's it.
So you play them numbers if you want to. You're still paying it through a tax. It's a tax.
Sure.
Valerie Allen says, I cannot govern 9 million immigrants to come to our city, where housing is short, healthcare offices in the community are being shut down due to mistreated nurses, and we're losing millions of dollars in grants.
And that's one of my things. Again, domestic to immigration. Buffalo is suffering probably from a medium-sized homeless problem.
Yes.
At no point did they say, you know what, let's put as many as we can out of our city streets. Let's get them in a hotel and work on services to get them ready to be as citizens again. But no, we would rather leave them on the street and then tell the person coming from Venezuela, oh, no, we got you. We'll make sure we get you a job.
And what would you think?
And that's a sad state that, an immigrant has a better opportunity than someone that's a naturally born citizen.
Yes.
I was listening to
who was brought here by force, by the way.
Yes,
who are yeah. We didn't come in Plymouth Rock. Go ahead.
But I heard the conversation from the legislature regarding the vouchers, and when you think about some of these individuals who are coming from New York City, they have vouchers where they can get $2,000 a month for rent. And if somebody, a mom and pop, you say you got $2,000 a month, you taking that $2,000. So it changed the whole dynamics for the economics in our city for people who have been struggling to get housing. They can't afford $2,000. They're not getting a voucher for $2,000. So there's a lot of pieces where these immigrants are coming to our country, and it impacts us. And I'm for immigration, but they got to do something as far as the law. And I just think that they don't want to do anything for the law because many of them understand don't look like us, are concerned about these immigrants and thus outnumbering them because they know it's coming.
Valerie Allen on Facebook says, our children must take shots and have dental records, where these children are just going to school because some schools, short of money, decided to take them in at any cost. I didn't know that. I don't know that for a fact. I'm reading what people are saying. almighty dollar. I agree in principle with both of you. This is what I think. I understand that there are some countries where people are fleeing from.
Absolutely.
And that their lives are in danger.
Yep.
Got it. Yep. I think that our system is not set up yet the right way.
No.
And I agree I think you can do both, but you got to have a will to do both. Mm-hmm. For me, I think you got to I'm just going to put it all in one bag because we need the money that we're sending to Ukraine too, if any of this is going to work, right? You got to say to Ukraine, y'all got to win now. And to the other country, listen, we can't go no another 2 years shelling out billions of dollars. Mm-hmm. But if we're going to do that, then we got to, you got to, where's this money going to go? And because right now, somebody said it yesterday, we just printing money. We just printing money and passing it out, right? At the end of the day, I want to see whoever becomes the next president or the president we have now and our Congress and how I want them to concentrate. We have problems here. We have problems. Now, you're going to have a conversation at the end of the month here at the church, partly sponsored with this radio show because it came up on the radio show. Right. You're going to record it. You're going to put it back for playback. Let me say in advance, I won't be there. I'm not skipping out. It's my birthday week. So I don't need no agitation on my birthday week. I don't want to be going off on
We're going to get a video for you before you leave.
I'll read it. I'll see it because I'm going to chill. So tell us what's going on because that's part of what you're talking about.
Yeah, I just think that it's time. And you actually, this came from a conversation you and I had years ago when Hillary Clinton was running for office. And she talked to the pastors and said, we need an agenda for the black community.
Yep.
That never happened.
Yeah.
And so we're looking at that. We can sit and complain all day about what people haven't done for us. But at the end of the day, what have we done for us? And I'm going to bring up something I haven't mentioned to you. I was at Nephew's barbecue. And I got my barbecue sandwich, and the guy came out, and he says, man, I ain't going back there no more. Their customer service is awful. And I said, bruh, they just opened up. He's like, man, but they should be doing better. I said, but if you went to Red Lobster or Olive Garden and you had back, you would go back, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would go back. But then he said, well, yeah, man, but we got to love one another and understand. We have to start really loving one another, not hating anybody. We have to start putting the plan together, say, how do we improve our community? We have to be at the table. It shouldn't be something that elected officials bringing us saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do. It should be saying, this is what we want you to do. How can you accomplish it? We need to see Jefferson improve. We need to see Fillmore improve. We need to see some improvement on Bailey. We need to see how we work together with our school system. It shouldn't just be on the superintendent and the school board. What are we going to do? And so this conversation is going to be very robust. It ain't just about talk. So if somebody thinks they're going to come and talk and that's going to be it, because I'm going to ask people to get involved. We're going to have some committees that are going to form and carve out some things that we want to accomplish, and those committees will be working on those things. We'll meet quarterly. But we need to hear from people. And so I'm going to let people vent a little bit, but at the end of the day of venting, we got to pivot. What's the solution? We got to come up with solutions. We just can't come and blame somebody for 20 years of what they haven't done. What are we going to do when we turn this corner? Because the corner is turning quickly, and we have to have a game plan. How do we help with housing? What things should we be asking the governor? It shouldn't be somebody elected official. The community should be coming saying, these are some things that we got to have conversation about to improve our plight. So
that's going on
October 25th at 6 p.m. right here at True Bethel.
So a brother's on, Damon Colbert, asked a question. I was told the mosque gives them low interest loans to start businesses and buy property. Is this true? I don't know that to be true. What I do know to be true is that they help one another.
I was getting ready to say.
Now I do know that. I do believe that they would loan each other money, because I know of people who have loaned each other money who are new new Buffalonians. I'll put it to you that way.
I was getting ready to say, whether it's true or not, kudos to them.
Yeah,
and
come on,
kudos to
come
them.
Come on.
Because if and I think you've always talked about it, if our institutions were strong enough and people didn't walk out on us on the first wrong incident, we could be in the same position.
Yeah, you saying a word, because my Muslim brothers and sisters, when they go to mosque, they're not going to mosque because they like the imam.
Right.
They're not going, and they ain't leaving the mosque when something happened in prayers. They're dedicated to their belief.
And they'll go anywhere.
They'll go no matter where, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're that they're pouring in to their mosque. We up and down people. We with you this week, we ain't with you next week, all that kind of stuff.
It's raining today. I don't feel like going. Oh, he said something I ain't like last week.
Wait until Sunday. Wait until Sunday.
Oh, when that Bills kick off at 9:30.
Now, I tell you this: if the Bills was playing on the day when the mosque got together, that mosque gonna be full, packed. Sunday morning, let me tell you this. I already know, and I ain't mad at it, because some churches, they made decisions. We're gonna have Friday church or Saturday church. I want everybody to know, if you a Sunday morning person, True Bethel is going to be open. I don't close for blizzards.
Sure don't.
I think we had to close this year. I think we would close one Sunday,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Other than that, my brothers and my sisters, I'm gonna be at church.
My initial sermon was on an ice storm Sunday.
Was it really?
Yeah.
We not gonna be at the bar. We gonna be in church.
Well, yeah, and they got the story twisted. They say the church was going to a bar, but it really, when I read the story, it said a bar is going to have a half hour of church.
Oh,
and then
wow.
Then they gonna open the bar.
Okay,
but they have a church first.
They need a preacher.
Unbelievable.
But the thing is too, all these things are happening, and it's happening, guess what? With our dollar. We are the biggest consumer. And so all these businesses that are open up are taking our dollar and doing what they do for their families. And we got to turn that around. We really have to start looking at how do we have that dollar turnover in our community so that helps benefit our community.
And I was going to say, and I know it started going viral on sports networks, but kind of tying the two, Sunday Bills game and government together. On Twitter, it went viral how just one decision of the governor, we're going to extend the state liquor authority's permission to allow early drinking.
Yeah.
And then you wonder why people are like, but like you said, I'm struggling, but you can make a decision so a bar can be open for a Bills game. But when I need help, it's, go back and fill out that paperwork. Oh, no, you didn't fill it out right. Oh, you're going to need another 3 to 4 weeks.
Why people are cynical when it comes to government.
Yes.
Yeah.
And some things government can do, some things it can't. And I've been a part of government 12 years. End of the day, I know that there are people, why a preacher can't do this? Why? There's some things we can, some things we can't, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that where our concentration has needed to be, we've been there, whether it was the police protests, whether it was, I can name a million things that we've housed, which we're still on right now, but you'll have a report hopefully this month, the first report. But I think what we at least in this room are saying, and what the people online are saying, is that I didn't see anybody on here say that there should not be a welcoming of immigrants. Right. Mm-hmm. I didn't see that. Now, I might have missed it, but I do think that people are saying, don't forget about us.
That's it.
I don't know who said it, but they said that it seems as if black people are always the worst treated of all people in this country. Do you think?
And I don't want to go too far, but I was just watching something about Farrakhan. He was being interviewed by Donahue many years ago. And people feel as though that we get so much. The one woman said, well, you get affirmative action. You can go to school. If it's a problem, you can get into school.
We can't anymore.
And I'm like, but you just think about that one piece. Our skin prohibits us in a lot of things.
Yeah.
And you don't... As he said, you just don't understand. You can't understand the plight that we're in. And we were brought here and we're seemingly mistreated in many ways. And just the little victories don't mean that everything is okay for us. Mm-hmm. It's still a challenge for us.
It definitely is.
I was getting ready to say my answer is much shorter. Yes. This country founded us by calling us first an item and then telling us we were only 3/5 of a person. So already from our originating documents, we were already less than. So of course, we're still less than 300 years old of this great experiment. So we are considered less than whoever the rest of this country was built for it.
On a good news front, and I know I'm all over the place, but when they put it up here, I want to. May Bynum is with INA. Those of you who know INA, community activist, very active with our youth.
And unions.
She is hearing and seeing, and they didn't
Hallelujah.
expect her to be here. So thanks, May, for updating us. We're still praying for INA.
Still praying.
But it's people like that, people who work for our youth. We got issues.
Yeah.
And I think if we're going to continue to bring folks here, you got to make sure that the people who are already here are taken care of.
Yes.
And the homeless problem, like you said, it might be medium, is larger than what people think.
Right.
Because it's not just about people living up under
couch
bridges.
surfing,
It's
yeah.
the couch surfing. It's people who've had to move back with parents, with children. It's people who legitimately pay their rent, then get put out because a new owner comes in, and then they don't have a long-term lease. And when the lease is up, they have to go. A lady stopped me yesterday, a couple of days ago, just moved back here from North Carolina, disabled, can't find an apartment, and a senior. And she was like, at my door, and she's like, and what are you gonna do? Something got to happen, and it's frustrating because I wish if True CDC could somebody just give us a few more million, I would just keep building these affordable units, and we are. I mean, we just finished the project in Niagara Falls. But we that money, people don't realize, comes all the way from the top down.
Yes.
And by the time it trickles down, the cities only have so much to be able to distribute it. One thing about Buffalo is we still got space.
Yeah.
We still have space for houses. We still have space for, we're not like downtown Chicago, basically landlocked.
Right.
We still have space and empty buildings. So this is what you have to talk to, just so that folk will get it. This isn't necessarily just a talk for your local council member.
No.
Because this is a talk for your state representatives and your federal representatives, those who have the real money. The federal government prints the money, folks. And if we don't tell our federal representatives, hey, we're suffering here. But I promise you, if I did a survey right now, random call survey, and said, who's your federal representative where you live? Most people some people gonna say Rashid Wyatt, Tim Kennedy, Crystal. Isn't Pridgeon since he's the president of the council? And I'm saying it because I want us to know, I want us to have that knowledge. That the same way you call your council member's office and say, I'm out of housing, call your federal representatives also.
I was getting ready to say it, especially because HUD works for them.
Works for them.
So if you need housing, call the people who are funding and watching.
Look how long the Perry Projects
Yeah.
has sat there blighted.
Yes.
Because of just same thing, and I know you sports fans, and I'm just a Bills fan. I believe sitting there waiting that there would be a stadium.
You're absolutely right.
Now money is starting to break loose to do the Perry Projects. We've needed housing for a long time. Kenfield, Langfield, some of those units need so much remodeling. Jasper Parish.
Yeah.
We got housing that belongs to the federal government that needs updating, but we also need more. That's why some people are going, how are you bringing more people here? And those of us, and I agree, let me say it because I don't want to get any emails about I'm against immigration. I'm not. That I'm against, asylum seekers. I'm not. I have been to I've been to Haiti. And if I had to, in some areas of Haiti, you are fearing for your life. But you don't see the Haitians.
No.
We ain't even had no conversation of let's send a plane over and get some Haitians.
I was going to say, they can't even get into Florida.
Come on.
Yeah.
They can't get into the Dominican. Haiti and the Dominican are on the same continent, and they can't get into the Dominican right now. They cannot get, now there's a story on Buffalo News about some students from Haiti, but that's a very small number.
Yeah.
We ain't talking about bringing in 500,000 Haitians.
No.
I think that's what we were talking about, that we seem to get the crumbs at the end. we're not a priority for America or any country as far as I'm concerned. It seems like we're always last. We come to you, we'll get to you. You know, I go back, not as a long time, Katrina. You know, what happened there? And it's like these folks were left out there, and you're like, we got to save those people. What the? You never took care of their conditions before this?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't important to them.
Yep.
You know?
And they knew that break wall was going to break, but that's a
What the
down in Katrina.
Oh, and now you know they got salt water coming into their fresh water.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The salt water, global warming that folks say is not. The ocean water is coming into their local water,
Wow.
and they have put up all kinds of like things to barricade it.
yeah.
But they interviewed a man this morning. He was like, I can taste the salt. I can feel so down. One of the parish, I forgot which parish, they're under a water alert. Like, I love New Orleans, and I love New Orleans food, but I ain't trying to rock and live in New Orleans. They just got a lot going on, man.
Man, that's going to be a different kind of jambalaya and gumbo down there.
Bro. Yeah, it's gonna. You ain't gonna need
Salted jambalaya.
You
Yeah,
ain't going to need no seasoning
they're
down
talking
there.
about how it's affecting their skin and everything
yeah.
else. So, folks, listen, I'm going to get ready to go, but I do want to thank, these local businesses. Rashid brought up a local business. You talked about somebody complaining. I'm going to say this. I don't know why they're complaining because I've never heard a complaint from there. But you're right. We need to be patient with one another. I've been doing these little food reviews, and you brought me the guy from Scotty's. Rashid told him to make it hell hot.
Mine was hell. Yours was mild.
Let me just tell you this. Mine wasn't mild, and my stomach told me it wasn't mild at 3 o'clock in the
Jesus.
morning. Too much information. I know TMI. So what?
How bad did you sweat? 'Cause you did.
I was sweating. It was good, though. It was good. I ain't going to tell no. And other people went the next day after we did the food review. Hobson's, the Doctor of Dry Cleaning. 874 East Delavan, folks. Take your clothes over to Hobson's. Take your sneakers over to Hobson's. Take your hat over to Hobson's. Take your kids over to Hobson's. They will dry clean your kids.
Jesus.
They will dry clean your kids.
Put them bad kids at Hobson's.
No, they don't want the bad ones. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home, 347 Peckham, 2528 Bailey, and 1275 Sycamore. In your hour of need. I'm not going to give you the phone number here because it's not your hour of need. When you need it. And Mark, I had to prove, because I've been saying, call the operator.
He did.
And that's for Brian K. Lewis. This dude going to say, is it still an
I
operator?
didn't know there was still an operator.
So I picked up my phone.
He did.
Let me ask my grandson, did you know there was still an operator? No, I don't even know what an operator is. Are you serious? So because we are so attached to these cell phones now, everybody just goes and Googles it
the
and finds
number.
it. You just dial 411. That's the operator. And you tell them the number. It used to be, because my mother used to be an operator. Now it's automated, some type of AI and it'll ask you, do you want a business or do you want a resident or whatever? You say the name and it gives you the number. They did not know 411 still exists. That blows my mind.
That's the truth.
No, nothing about an operator. Don't know nothing about a dial-up phone.
They don't know.
Look at him
about
on the phone.
phone.
Y'all see my grandson on the phone? Do you hear the operator? That's a shame. When you're hour in need, dial 411
Go ahead, keep somebody in
and
business.
ask for Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes. Support local businesses, folks. That's my word. That's what I want to tell you. Support local businesses that pour back into our community. If you can find one, brag about it. If you have a rough time at one, go back. Tell the owner.
Yes.
Let them straighten it out.
Yes.
But don't dog them. Until next week, power to the people.